and the Todd Family YouTube video, wherever you are, whatever you may be doing. Thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd Family part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. If you jump on here live here on this Tuesday evening, feel free to leave a comment in the comments section down below. Make sure to give the video a like, a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so and share the video on all social media platforms. If you follow the channel, you'll know that I did an article just like this probably about 3 weeks ago about college basketball coaches. Well, this time around, it's about college football coaches. Same exact article, wrote in the same way with the same 7 categories, just about college football this time and not college basketball. And the 7 categories are lifetime contract, ice cold, cold, room temperature, warm, hot, and scorching. Good evening, Kevron. Glad to have you here. As always, and it's about the coaches in the sport. And the 7 categories is, according to the writers of the article, what kind of seat the coach is on. So basically, the very top of the list, lifetime contract, means, according to the writers of this article, those coaches have done enough at their current job that no matter what happens this point forward, they're never getting fired. The only way they'll leave their current job is if they, choose to leave on their own, whether it's take a job somewhere else or, retire, resign. And then the bottom of the list, scorching, pretty much means when this season starts, if you're a month into the season and your team sucks, you're out the door. So we'll start with the most positive of the positive and lifetime contract, and then we'll end with the most negative of the negative with scorching hot. Now, some of these categories only have 5 or 6 programs in them, and then there's some that have 20. But lifetime contract only has a few. And again, these are coaches that, according to this article and the writers of the article, they say these coaches have done enough at their current job that no matter what they do this point forward, they're not getting fired. And that's Notre Dame, Iowa, Clemson, Indiana, Oregon, and Georgia. So just 6 programs. Now, hey there, Tiffany. Glad to have you here. Hey there, Fanny. Glad to have you here. And Tiffany and Fanny, I think it's the first time I've seen y'all's names in the comments section. If it is y'all's first time being here for whatever reason, made y'all stop by the channel tonight, thank you very much. Feel free to give the video a like, a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and tell your friends, tell your family all about the channel. Notre Dame, I could see, because in a couple of years, they've already gone from, a borderline ranked team that really was only a ranked team because of the name, not because of what you were doing on the field, to being a consistent top 5, top 10 team. Hey there, Sam. Glad to have you here. Iowa, I understand. Kirk Ferentz has been there almost 30 years. He's the longest tenured coach in college football. And as long as he wins 7 games a year, they're not firing him. And he's a great enough coach where he's going to win about 7 games every single year. Clemson, I could see there are some fans now that want Dabo gone, but I think that I'm with the article writers. I believe that Dabo's done so much that no matter what, he'll be at Clemson now as long as he wants to. Indiana, of course. I mean, you just won the national championship, and you've been the losingest program in history of college football. Can you imagine how dumb you'd look now if Cignetti has a couple of down seasons and you fire him? That ain't happening. The only way Georgia ever fires Kirby Smart is they all of a sudden start losing. Now, Georgia gets in so much trouble off the field. I mean, they have 975 players get arrested every year. But we all know by now that as long as you win, the fans don't care if you're an axe murderer as long as you win. So I think he'll be fine. Oregon, it's kind of hard to say because they've never won a national championship, but they're a top 5 team year in, year out. I don't see that changing anytime soon. Hey there, Charles. Glad to have you here. Now, the ice cold category is not quite lifetime contract, but it's still, you've done enough at your current school that you're going to have 2 or 3 bad years to even consider being fired. We've got quite a few programs in this category: Illinois, SMU, Texas, Penn State, BYU, Ohio State, LSU, Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, Miami, Duke, Arizona State, and Texas Tech. The only thing that caught my attention in that list was LSU because Lane Kiffin has not yet coached one game at LSU. So how can his seat be warm enough to where he needs a couple of bad years to be fired when he ain't won a game there yet? So I know they're basing that, based on what Lane Kiffin's done in the past. But LSU don't care about his past. If he goes to LSU and goes 2-10 in year one, they're going to want him fired. Now, is that going to happen? No. But I'm just saying that LSU don't care. If Lane Kiffin had 27 national championships, if he comes there and he struggles, they're going to want him gone. And yes, to the asker that question, I'll call you N8Q. This July will be 19 years I've been a professional wrestling independent referee. Thanks for the question. The next category is cold. And just like ice cold, cold has quite a few teams in this list. And cold just means that you're a little bit worse than ice cold, but not quite room temperature. Ice cold, you need about 2 or 3 bad years for, your school to consider firing you. Cold means you need about 1 really bad year and you'll be in trouble. We got Louisville, Georgia Tech, Houston, Michigan, Virginia, Virginia Tech, Missouri, Northwestern, Arizona, Wake Forest, Washington, Florida, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, Ole Miss, TCU, and Rutgers. And then room temperature, we have California, Michigan State, Oklahoma State, Arkansas, Iowa State, Kansas, Central Florida, Kansas State, Tennessee, UCLA, Kentucky, Auburn, NC State, Nebraska, Stanford, Syracuse, and Utah. Now, on this list, you realize that you've got Arkansas, whose current coach has not coached a game there. Iowa State, whose current coach has not coached a game there. Then you got Kentucky, whose current coach has not coached a game there. Same way with Stanford and Utah. If I'm those coaches at those programs, I'm worried that supposedly my seat is room temperature when I ain't coached a game yet. Because if you really are room temperature and you ain't coached a game yet, if your first season is bad, you could be out the door. The next seat is warm. That's Boston College, Oklahoma, Alabama, USC, Purdue, Cincinnati, and West Virginia. And then we have the one that everybody knows about. That's good old hot seat. North Carolina, Colorado, and Mississippi State. And then we have the one that's really bad, because if you're on this list, if your team comes out of the gate and has a bad first month, you might be out the door. That is the scorching hot seat. And on that list, we have Maryland, South Carolina, Baylor, Wisconsin, and Florida State. Now, the rumor is the only reason Florida State hasn't fired Mike Norvell yet is because of his buyout, because they're still paying Jimbo Fisher. They're still paying Willie Taggart. So if they fire Mike Norvell, they're paying 3 ex-coaches and still having to go out and find another coach. So you'd be paying 4 coaches at that current time, and that's a lot to ask for. So the rumor is the only reason Mike Norvell hasn't been fired is because Florida State can't afford his buyout, but they know that they made the wrong decision, the wrong choice. But, you know, with the amount of money he's making for his buyout, they can't get rid of him. If that's true, then, you know, Mike Norvell better hurry up and start winning, because once his buyout starts dropping, he'll be out the door. But if that article is true, I don't really know if I say Mike Norvell's seat is scorching hot, because if you can't afford to fire him, then you can't afford to fire him. So if that's true, the only way Norvell gets fired is if Florida State goes 2-10, 1-11. I don't care what your buyout is. If you got a coach that goes, you know, 2-10 and 1-11, he might be out the door. I don't think Florida State's going to be quite that bad, but I don't know if they go better than 6-6 or 7-5 again this upcoming year. But that is the 7 categories for college football head coaches. Any more thoughts on it? Please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. My wife keeps acquiring new taste in music. First, it was 6 pence, none the richer. Then 50 cent. Now Nickelback. I think she's going through the change. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family